Lest we forget. Declaration: We, the members of the Medical Mission Group Hospital Cooperative of the Philippines, declare here and today that we are fully aware of the health situation of our country. Lest we forget, we affirm the following situation: that there are more than 30 medical schools and hundreds of nursing schools in the country today. That we graduate more than 4,000 doctors and 28,000 nurses every year. That 68% of all Filipino doctors and 80% of all Filipino nurses are abroad. But 62% of Filipinos die in our country without seeing a doctor or a nurse. Lest we forget, we affirm the following situation: that the Philippines, small as it is the 26th exporter of food worldwide, that our country spends hundreds of millions of pesos a year for weight-reducing preparations and procedures. But 30% of all Filipino children are stunted and suffer from various degrees of malnutrition. Malnutrition results in mental retardation. Lest we forget, we affirm the following situation: that diarrhea and infectious diseases of the intestinal tract are the top morbidity and mortality causes in the Philippines, that 40% of the Philippine population does not have access to safely managed toilet facilities, that 30% of the Philippine population does not have access to safe potable water. The total soft drinks revenue like Coca-Cola amounts to $10.4 billion, 570 billion pesos, in 2022 and is expected to grow 7.7% yearly up to 2026 in the Philippines. Lest we forget, we affirm the following: there are about 1,500 hospitals in the country today. 75% of the hospitals are run privately and for profit. 48% of all hospitals in the Philippines are located in Great Manila area, which occupies only 2% of the land area of the country. So the vast majority of the Filipinos who live below the poverty level cannot access the services of most of the hospitals in the country. Lest we forget, we affirm the following situation: that worldwide, the Philippines is a leading country in the incidence of tuberculosis, schistosomiasis, and whooping cough, that worldwide, the Philippines is a leading country in the incidence of blindness, that the budget of the Department of Health is 118 billion pesos in 2022, and up to 70% of which is mainly spent for the salaries of its personnel. But the transnational dominated drug industry earns 223.9 billion pesos a year in the Philippines. Lest we forget, we affirm that the Philippines government has been unable to address the basic right of health of each of its citizens. The private sector engaged in health delivery in the Philippines is helpless in the face of fiscal constraints, that we, in the Medical Mission Group Hospitals and Health Services Cooperative of the Philippines, have banded together determined to address the insufferable inequities in health in our country today. Because we have a dream. Welcome to the future. Step into our dream. Let us dream of the food producers, the farmer, the fisherman, the vegetable gardener, the keeper of livestock. Let us dream that he may not have to borrow money to buy his inputs at usurious prices. Let us dream that he may not have to sell his produce at the lowest prices dictated by his creditors. Let us dream that he may have enough left of his labors to feed his children and not condemn them to a lifetime of malnourishment and stupidity. Let us dream of the Filipino merchant, the market vendor, the manlalako, the stall owner, the traveling salesman, that he may have access to information technology that will place him at par with the rest of the world, instead of being a slave to quotas and pressures from the better-informed multinational business sector. Let us dream of the Filipino professional, that he may not have to price himself way below his market value in the international world, just because his country does not and cannot provide for his basic services. Let us dream of a better future for the unskilled and uneducated Filipina who exports herself, her services and her body, to be exploited, humiliated, violated, tortured, driven to insanity and even murder because she dreams of a better future for her children whom she leaves behind. Let us dream of a better future for the Filipino child born out of poverty and desperation, who roams the streets and countryside malnourished, unwanted, uneducated, uninformed yet uncomplaining of the exploitation and dehumanization he is consequently subjected to. Let us dream of a Philippines, not a country brought down to her knees and willing to sell her body and soul for a fistful of rice, but a country who takes her rightful place among the League of Nations, with her head and her honor unblemished and held high. A nation neither exploiting nor exploited. Then let us dream of our cooperative movement, the vanguard and stalwart of our dream of economic freedom. For we realize that without freedom from hunger and dire want, there can never be any real freedom of choice. Then let us not dream about tomorrow, let us dream about today, because between the dream and the reality, there is only will.